Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, glanced at the clock, and there it is? 3:02 a.m. glowing back at you in the dark. And in that moment, everything feels louder. Your thoughts, your worries, even the silence. You lie there, eyes open, wondering, why am I awake again? You try to turn over, fluff the pillow, close your eyes tighter, but your mind just won't settle. And before you know it, you're wide awake, staring into the dark, feeling frustrated, maybe even a little anxious. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. So many women over 60 experience this exact thing, waking up at 3 a.m., night after night, and not knowing what to do about it. And here's the truth that might surprise you. It's not random. Your body isn't broken. Your sleep isn't just getting worse with age. There are real, understandable reasons behind this pattern. And once you understand them, you can finally stop feeling helpless in those quiet, sleepless hours. In this conversation, I want to gently walk you through what's really happening when you wake up at 3 a.m., the hidden habits that may be quietly sabotaging your sleep, and something most people have never been told about, the role of your personal sleep rhythm, your chronotype. And most importantly, I want to help you understand what not to do in that moment, because one small mistake at 3 a.m. can keep you awake for hours. Let's begin with the question that's probably on your mind right now. Why 3 a.m.? Why does your body seem to wake you up at that exact time, as if there's an alarm you never set? Well, your sleep isn't just a passive process. It's actually guided by a very delicate internal system, your circadian rhythm. Think of it as your body's built-in clock, quietly regulating when you feel sleepy and when you feel alert. In the evening, as the sun goes down, your body begins releasing a hormone called melatonin. This is what helps you feel drowsy, calm, ready for sleep. At the same time, another hormone, cortisol, the one that keeps you alert, starts to drop. But here's where things get interesting. In the early morning hours, usually between 2 and 4 a.m., your body begins preparing to wake up. Cortisol slowly starts to rise again. Your body temperature shifts. Your brain becomes more active. If everything is balanced, you stay asleep through this transition. But if something is even slightly off, stress, light exposure, diet, habits, your body can tip into wakefulness right at that point. That's why so many people wake up around 3 a.m. It's a sensitive window. And for women over 60, this window becomes even more delicate. Hormonal changes, lighter sleep patterns, and increased sensitivity to stress all play a role. What used to be a deep, uninterrupted night's sleep can slowly turn into something more fragile. But here's what matters most. Waking up isn't the real problem. What you do next is. Because in that quiet moment at 3 a.m., there's one thing many people do that makes everything worse. They start thinking. Not just gentle thoughts, but the kind that spiral. Did I forget to call my daughter back? What if something's wrong with my health? Why can't I sleep like I used to? What if I'm exhausted tomorrow? And suddenly, your mind is wide awake, even if your body is still tired. You see, your brain doesn't know the difference between a real emergency and a worried thought. The moment you start engaging with those thoughts, your body reacts. Your heart rate increases. Your breathing becomes shallower. Cortisol rises even more. And just like that, sleep slips further away. This is one of the most common hidden habits that quietly ruin sleep, not during the day, but in the middle of the night. Another habit that often plays a role begins much earlier, long before you even get into bed. Let me ask you something gently. Do you ever have a cup of coffee in the afternoon? Maybe around 2 or 3 p.m. Or even a little later, just to get through the day. It feels harmless, doesn't it? Especially if you've been drinking coffee your whole life. But as we get older, our bodies process caffeine differently. What used to wear off in a few hours can now linger much longer in your system. That afternoon cup of coffee might still be affecting your brain at midnight, and yes, even at 3 a.m. Caffeine doesn't just keep you awake. It actually blocks the signals that tell your brain you're tired. So even if you fall asleep, your sleep can be lighter, more fragile, easier to disrupt. And then there's alcohol. Some women tell me, I have a glass of wine in the evening to help me relax. And it's true, alcohol can make you feel sleepy at first. But later in the night, it has the opposite effect. It disrupts your sleep cycles, especially the deeper stages of sleep your body needs to fully rest. And as your body processes the alcohol, it can trigger wakefulness right around that 3 a.m. window. So what feels like a helpful habit in the evening can quietly set you up for a restless night. Now, there's one more piece of this puzzle that most people never hear about. Something that explains why what works for one person doesn't always work for another. It's called your chronotype. This is your body's natural preference for sleep and wake times. Some people are naturally early risers. Others feel more alert later in the evening. And this isn't just a habit, it's biological. As we age, our chronotype often shifts. Many women find themselves getting sleepy earlier and waking earlier, even if they don't want to. But if your daily routine doesn't match your chronotype, if you're forcing yourself to stay up later than your body prefers, or trying to sleep at times that don't align with your natural rhythm, your sleep can become fragmented. That's when those early awakenings start to happen more often. And when you combine that with small habits, like late caffeine, evening alcohol, or racing thoughts, you begin to see a pattern. It's not just one thing. It's a combination of subtle factors, all meeting at that same fragile moment in the early morning. And once you start to see that pattern, something powerful happens. You stop blaming yourself. You stop thinking, something is wrong with me. And instead, you begin to understand your body in a new, gentler way. Now, there's another layer to this that many people overlook completely. Something in your everyday environment that could be quietly influencing your sleep without you even realizing it. Now, think for a moment about the space where you sleep. Not just the bed itself, but the entire environment around you. The light, the temperature, the sounds, even the feeling of the air in the room. Because your body is constantly reading those signals, even when you're asleep. And here's something many women don't realize. What feels normal to you might actually be keeping your brain on alert all night long. Let's start with light. Even a small amount of light can have a powerful effect on your sleep, especially as you get older. A digital clock glowing across the room, a hallway light left on, or even the soft flicker from a television screen can signal to your brain that it's not fully night yet. And your brain responds by holding back melatonin, the hormone that helps you stay asleep. So when that natural early morning shift begins around 3 a.m., your body is already more vulnerable to waking up. And once your eyes open, what's the first thing many of us do? We look at the clock. 3:07 a.m. And in that instant, your brain starts calculating. I only have a few hours left before morning. I'm going to be exhausted. This always happens. That tiny moment of checking the time can quietly trigger a cascade of stress. Your body tightens. Your mind speeds up. Sleep drifts further away. It's such a small habit, but it has a surprisingly big impact. Then there's temperature. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to changes in temperature during the night. If your room is even slightly too warm, your body has to work harder to stay comfortable. And that effort can pull you out of deeper sleep stages right around the time your system is already shifting. Many women find that lowering the room temperature just a little, or using lighter bedding, makes a noticeable difference especially in those early morning hours. And let's not forget about sound. Even if you think you're used to it, background noise can keep your brain partially alert. A television left on, traffic outside, or even subtle household sounds can prevent your nervous system from fully settling. Your body may fall asleep, but it never fully lets go. So when that 3 a.m. window comes, it doesn't take much to wake you. Now, here's something deeper, and I want to say this gently, because it's something many women carry quietly. Sometimes, waking up at 3 a.m. isn't just about your body. It's about your mind and your heart. That time of night is incredibly still. There are no distractions, no conversations, no daytime noise to keep things busy. And in that silence, thoughts that you've pushed aside during the day can begin to surface. Memories, worries, loneliness, regrets. Even small concerns that didn't seem important earlier can suddenly feel heavy. And when your mind starts holding on to those thoughts, your body responds as if something is wrong. It's not weakness. It's not failure. It's simply that your mind finally has space to speak. But here's the key. Engaging with those thoughts at 3 a.m. almost always makes things worse. Because your brain, in that state, isn't calm or logical. It's more reactive, more emotional, more sensitive. So what feels like thinking things through often turns into overthinking. And that brings us back to something very important. If you wake up at 3 a.m., the worst thing you can do is try to force sleep. You might lie there thinking, I have to fall asleep right now. You try to shut your mind down. You toss and turn. You check the time again. But the more you try to force sleep, the more pressure you create. And sleep doesn't respond well to pressure. It's like trying to grab something soft with a tight grip. The tighter you hold, the more it slips away. So instead of forcing, what your body actually needs is a sense of safety. Calm. Gentle signals that it's okay to relax again. Sometimes, that might mean simply lying still and focusing on your breathing. Slow, steady breaths that tell your nervous system there's nothing to worry about right now. Other times, it might mean accepting that you're awake without panic. Not reaching for your phone. Not turning on bright lights. Not diving into thoughts that pull you further away from rest. Just allowing your body to settle. And here's something many people find surprising. Even if you don't fall back asleep right away, resting quietly can still be restorative. Your body doesn't need perfection. It needs consistency and calm. Now, let's come back to your daily rhythm for a moment, because this is where everything begins to connect. Your chronotype, your natural sleep pattern, doesn't just affect when you fall asleep. It affects how stable your sleep is throughout the night. If your routine is out of sync with your body, your sleep becomes more fragile. For example, if your body naturally wants to wind down earlier, but you stay up watching television late into the evening, you may still fall asleep, but your sleep won't be as deep or as steady. Or if you wake up at different times every morning, your internal clock becomes confused. It doesn't know when to fully commit to sleep or wakefulness. And that confusion often shows up right in the middle of the night. That 3 a.m. awakening becomes more frequent, more persistent. But when your routine aligns with your body, when your bedtime and wake time feel natural instead of forced, something shifts. Your sleep becomes more stable. Those early awakenings don't disappear overnight, but they become less intense, less disruptive. And that's where real change begins. Not with drastic fixes or complicated routines, but with small, gentle adjustments that support your body instead of fighting it. Because your body is not your enemy here. It's trying to communicate with you. And once you start listening in the right way, those 3 a.m. moments begin to feel less like a struggle and more like something you understand. There's one final piece to this that brings everything together: Something simple, but incredibly powerful, that can change how you experience those early morning awakenings completely. And this is the part that often changes everything, not overnight, but in a quiet, steady way that you begin to feel within a few days. Because once you understand why you're waking up at 3 a.m., once you recognize the habits that may be contributing to it, and once you start creating a calmer, more supportive sleep environment, there's still one question left. What should you actually do in that moment? Not what you shouldn't do, but what you can do, gently, kindly, so your body feels safe enough to return to rest. When you wake up at 3 a.m., the first thing to remember is this. Nothing is wrong. You are not broken. Your body is not failing you. This is a natural window where your system is more sensitive, and sometimes it simply crosses into wakefulness. The problem begins when your reaction turns that small moment into a full wake-up. So instead of reacting with frustration or fear, try something different. Before you even move, before you open your eyes fully, take a slow breath. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Then again. And as you breathe, bring your attention away from your thoughts and into your body. Notice the weight of the blanket, the softness of your pillow, the feeling of the mattress supporting you. You're not trying to make yourself sleep. You're simply reminding your body that it's still resting. If your mind starts to wander, and it will, just gently guide it back to your breath. No pressure. No urgency. Because the moment you remove the pressure to sleep, something interesting happens. Your body often finds its way back on its own. Now, there will be nights when you don't fall back asleep right away. And that's okay too. This is where many people make another mistake. They stay in bed, tossing and turning, growing more frustrated with every passing minute. Instead, if you've been lying there for a while and your mind feels fully awake, it can actually help to get up, but in a very gentle way. Keep the lights low. Avoid anything bright or stimulating. No phone screens, no television. Maybe you sit in a comfortable chair with a soft blanket. Maybe you read a few pages of something calming, or simply sit quietly. The goal is not to wake up. It's to stay in a restful state without forcing sleep. And often, after a short while, you'll feel your body soften again, your eyes grow heavier, and you can return to bed more naturally. This approach may feel unfamiliar at first, especially if you're used to trying to fight your way back to sleep. But over time, it creates a completely different relationship with those early morning awakenings. Less tension, less fear, more trust. And that trust matters more than you might think. Because your body responds to how you treat it. When you respond with calm instead of panic, your nervous system begins to settle more quickly. Those awakenings become shorter, less intense. Now, let's bring everything together in a simple, practical way you can carry with you tonight. During the day, begin to notice your habits. If you enjoy coffee, try having your last cup earlier, late morning instead of afternoon. Give your body more time to clear it from your system. If you have a glass of wine in the evening, consider how it affects your sleep later in the night. You don't have to give it up completely, but small adjustments in timing can make a real difference. Pay attention to your natural rhythm. When do you start to feel sleepy in the evening? When do you wake up without an alarm? Instead of forcing yourself into a schedule that doesn't feel right, begin to gently align your routine with your body's preferences. And in your bedroom, create a space that supports rest. Softer light, cooler air, less noise, fewer distractions. Even something as simple as turning your clock away, so you're not tempted to check the time, can help your mind stay calm. And then, when that 3 a.m. moment comes, as it sometimes will, you'll know what to do. You won't reach for your phone. You won't start counting the hours until morning. You won't let your thoughts carry you away. You'll pause. You'll breathe. You'll allow your body to settle. And that changes everything. Because sleep is not something you can force, but it is something you can invite. And the way you respond in those quiet hours is your invitation. Now, I want to remind you of something important. You don't need to be perfect with this. You don't need to follow every suggestion exactly or change everything at once. Even one small shift, one earlier cup of coffee, one calmer response at 3 a.m., one adjustment to your bedtime can begin to improve your sleep. And those small changes add up. Night by night, your body learns. It feels safer, more supported, more at ease. And slowly, those 3 a.m. awakenings begin to lose their power over you. So tonight, if you wake up and see that familiar time glowing in the dark, I want you to remember this conversation. Not as a set of rules, but as a gentle reminder. You are okay. Your body knows what it's doing. And you have more control than you think. If this spoke to you, I'd love to hear from you. Have you been waking up at 3 a.m. too? What have you tried so far, and what feels different now? Go ahead and share your experience in the comments. You're not alone in this, and your story might help someone else feel less alone too. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Elderly Faith Journey for more gentle, practical ways to take care of your health and well-being. Because no matter your age, you deserve restful nights, peaceful mornings, and the kind of life that feels calm, steady, and truly your own. Here's to sleeping better and living well, one night at a time.